Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make strawberry shortcake ice cream bars without a popsicle mold. I'm sure a lot of you have had strawberry shortcake ice cream bars before, and these are even better because they're homemade, so let's get started. First we'll make a strawberry puree to use for strawberry ice cream later. First, wash the strawberries, pat them dry, and cut off the green part. Add them into a food processor or blender and puree them until smooth. Pass it through a fine sieve into a small saucepan to get rid of the seeds. Add in the lemon juice and place the saucepan onto the stove over medium heat until it starts to bubble, stirring it occasionally so it's heating evenly. Once it's bubbling, turn the heat down to low or medium-low and heat it for 20 to 30 minutes until it reduces and thickens, making sure it's slowly bubbling the whole time, so adjust the heat as needed, and stir it occasionally so it doesn't burn at the bottom. Once it has reduced and thickened and there's no more than 1 cup of liquid left, remove it from the heat, pour it into a jar, and refrigerate it for at least 2 hours until it's cold. To make these without a popsicle mold, we're going to be using a regular 9x13-inch baking pan. Line the pan with parchment paper and place it into the freezer so it gets really cold. Since we're going to be adding ice cream onto it, it's best if it's cold or the ice cream will melt instantly once it touches the pan. And take 2 containers, one big and one small one, and place them into the freezer too. And I also recommend turning the freezer down to the coldest setting so the ice cream freezes nice and hard so it's easier to work with. To make the ice cream base, in a large bowl, add in the whole milk, heavy cream, sugar, vanilla extract, and salt, and whisk them for a minute or two until the sugar is dissolved. Then pour the mixture into an ice cream machine and let it churn until it's thick and about a soft serve consistency, which takes about 25 to 30 minutes. If you don't have an ice cream machine, I have a couple videos showing how to make ice cream without one, and I'll link to them in the description box. But you get the best results with an ice cream machine because it constantly stirs the mixture as it's freezing so you don't get big ice crystals in the ice cream, and it even aerates the mixture. You can also just buy ice cream from the store, but I wouldn't. Remove the chilled pan from the freezer. Pour a little more than 1/4 of the ice cream into the pan. Spread it out evenly. And place it into the freezer for 30 minutes until it's hard. Remove the smaller container from the freezer. Add a little more than 1/4 of the ice cream into the container. And place it into the freezer. You should be left with less than half of the ice cream in the bowl. Add in the cold strawberry puree into the rest of the ice cream. And mix until well combined. Remove the larger container from the freezer. Pour in the strawberry ice cream. and place it into the freezer. After 30 minutes, remove the strawberry ice cream from the freezer. Mix it to soften it. Remove the pan from the freezer, and this layer of ice cream should be hard enough for the next step. Pour in the strawberry ice cream. Spread it out until it's even. And place it into the freezer for 30 minutes until this layer is hard. After 30 minutes, remove the remaining vanilla ice cream from the freezer. Stir it to soften it. Remove the pan from the freezer. Pour the vanilla ice cream onto it. And spread it out evenly. Return it to the freezer and freeze it for at least 2 hours until it's really nice and hard. If you can do 4 hours or even overnight, that would be best. You want it to be really nice and hard for the next step. Once it's really nice and frozen, remove it from the freezer. Use the parchment paper to lift it out of the pan. Use a butter knife to loosen it from the edges if needed. Place it onto a cutting board and remove the parchment paper. Then use a sharp knife to cut it into bars. These are quite thick, so you can cut them small if you like. And if they're too hard to cut, run the knife under hot water so it slices through easier. And work quickly because they're always melting. Then insert a popsicle stick into each one, trying to push it in straight and not on an angle. Place them onto a tray lined with parchment paper. And immediately place them back into the freezer for a few hours until they're nice and frozen again. Then for the crunchy coating, I'm making some sugar cookies. I'll put a link to the recipe I'm using in the description box. I'm only making half the recipe because you will only need half the recipe. It does call for only 1 egg, so what you can do is either use just the egg yolk, or use a small egg, or crack the egg into a separate bowl, beat it together to mix the yolk and the white, and add about half of that to the mixture. And I'm baking them for 12 minutes to get them nice and crispy. Once they're done, let them cool completely. Then place some of them into a large plastic bag. Press out the excess air and seal the bag. And crush them with a rolling pin until they form somewhat fine crumbs. You can do this in a food processor or a blender, but they usually get too fine or almost powdery that way. We want them somewhat fine, but not too fine. Add the crumbs into a bowl. Then crush up some freeze-dried strawberries into a fine powder. You can use a food processor or blender for this if you like. Sift them into the bowl with the crushed cookie crumbs. And mix them until they're combined. Place them onto a large plate. Remove the frozen ice cream bars from the freezer. To get the cookie crumbs to stick, dip the ice cream bars into some cold water and press the cookie crumbs all over it. Work quickly before the ice cream bars melt too much. Once they're all done, store them in the freezer until you're ready to serve them. And that's how to make strawberry shortcake ice cream bars. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give this video a like and check out my channel for many more videos and subscribe to my channel for more to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.